The Cuban embassy says Dominican students there are safe. The Creole Festival organizers reassess their marketing strategy in light of the impact of Irma on neighboring islands, and government modifies its housing revolution to make provision for the impact of climate change. I'm Julian Morris with the Channel 5 News. The details after this. First up, all Dominican students in Cuba are reportedly safe as that northern Caribbean state was battered by Hurricane Irma. Cuba's ambassador to Dominica, Juan Carlos Frometa de la Rosa, says parents of Dominican students made contact with him. However, he is assuring families that the students were not harmed.
As I informed to the Prime Minister, all Dominican students are safe and in well conditions. We have almost 100 studying in this moment in Cuba. I mean, medicine, engineers, and other specialties. Most of them are in Havana, but they are in a very good condition. And also we have in Santiago de Cuba, Pinar del Rio, Las Tunas. So we have Dominican students around the country, but all of them, they are in very good condition.
Ciego de Avila and Camagüey are among the most impacted provinces in the ALBA member state due to major flooding and widespread wind damage.
The situation now in Cuba is very difficult because Irma impacted the most part of the country, mainly the north coast of the central part of the country, including also Havana in one way or another. We have some zones of the country without electricity, without water, so step by step we are recovering the normal situation in the country. So it will take time, effort, and of course help.
Cuba recorded 10 Irma-related deaths, the majority of whom were elderly people, according to Ambassador Frometa.
Unfortunately, 10 people died during the impact of Irma, mainly by accidents in different provinces, Havana, Camagüey, Villa Clara. Now we are in a process to rebuild the country. So now we are making an evaluation of the damage. So we don't have a final cost, but for sure we know that the cost will be millions of dollars.
Venezuela, Panama, Russia and Dominica have already come to Cuba's rescue. Prime Minister Skerrit announced on Monday that Cuba would receive $250,000 of state funds. The Cuban ambassador described it as a great contribution as he thanked the government of Dominica. And 7 weeks before the staging of the World Creole Music Festival, organizers are reassessing their marketing strategy given the effects of Hurricane Irma. Chief Executive Officer of the Discover Dominica Authority, Colin Piper, says they have considered that arrivals to the island for the festive season could be affected.
And that's what we're doing now, is taking this week to kind of reassess, look at, first of all, the hub of St. Martin, Princess Juliana, which has been damaged, and how critical that is with Winair as a service coming in. So that's one of the things we're looking at. Then we're looking at the period the week before World Creole Music Festival, and to look at how many people come from St. Martin and through St. Martin, so that we can determine what sort of impact that we have.
Last month, the marketing team traveled to St. Martin on a promotional campaign of the World Creole Music Festival as efforts continue to attract more patrons around these parts.
We know from Tropical Storm Erica that disposable income is hard to come by in times like this, and so we certainly have to be mindful of the impact that Hurricane Irma will have, not only of people of St. Martin, but St. Thomas and the northern islands, where people may have had it on their agenda to attend World Creole Music Festival. So we really need to take a look at that and determine how that is going to impact what we do by way of promotions, of course being mindful and respectful of the tribulations that people are going through now. But we do have a country to run, and tourism is a critical part of it, and so we need to just ensure that, again, we are respectful, but we must proceed as normal with the tourism agenda.
Last year, higher gate receipt revenue was recorded for the event when compared to other years. The 20th edition of the World Creole Music Festival will take place on October 27 to 29. The Castlebruce constituency will soon see an upgrade of the road network there, as over $4 million in intervention works will get underway there soon. This as the country benefits from concessionary funding from the World Bank through a Disaster Vulnerability Reduction Program, DVRP. Minister for Public Works Miriam Blanchard explained the scope of works which are scheduled to get underway in the near future.
As your government continues this drive to rebuild our beautiful island, Dominica, following the passage of Tropical Storm Erica, we were able to secure roughly $4.7 million of an already existing project to undertake a number of small but very significant projects in the Castlebruce constituency. These works will include the construction of retaining walls, as well as the construction of culverts and drains. It also includes the erection of guardrails on existing bridges in the area to improve the safety of pedestrians and road users, as well as the dredging of the river near the Castlebruce Secondary School. These interventions will form part of the Disaster Vulnerability Reduction Project.
Minister for the Environment, Dr. Kenneth Daru, says the onslaught of Tropical Storm Erica caused the project focus of the DVRP to shift slightly to assist more vulnerable areas.
These immediate works now came about as a result of Tropical Storm Erica, because we would have already had the infrastructural component of the DVRP all lined up and ready to go. However, with the advent of Tropical Storm Erica, we now then had to reshift our priorities or reconsider, go back to the drawing board and see which of the areas. And as the Member of Parliament rightly said, of course, together with the Petite-Savan general area, the Petite-Sifre Castlebruce constituency is probably one of the other extremely vulnerable areas or regions in our extremely vulnerable island, Dominica. And of course, we came up with the idea of these immediate works.
Member of Parliament for the Castlebruce constituency, Johnson Drago, says the upcoming works are timely, as action has already been taken to help ease the concern of the public with the state of some roads in the area.
Some of the areas were so dangerous that we could not have waited for the project to begin before we do the intervention. And through the Ministry of Public Works, we have invested well over $1 million, undertaking some of the projects to advance the projects for the safety of the people. The immediate works forms part of a much greater scope in the coming months. Residents will notice work along the route, conducting studies that will inform design of 43.3 kilometers of road along the 4 lots. And the lots are Lot 1, Poncase to Roundabout to Bois-Diable Junction, Lot 2, Bois-Diable Junction to Castlebruce, Lot 3, Castlebruce to Petite-Sifre.
3 contracts were awarded for the intervention works. They went to George Trucking and Excavation Services Limited, ADA Trucking Limited, and Jazz Sales and Services Limited. And a new collective bargaining agreement is likely as former employees of the Dominica Coconut Products start duties under new management. Some employees of the company, once operated by Colgate-Palmolive, have already started working at the Belfast plant. The company is now being operated by the Nassif family. The Waterfront and Allied Workers Union boss, Curtis Augustus, says he has not yet drawn up new terms and conditions for staff, as it's still early days.
We have been monitoring from reports coming to us from our members what is taking place down at Coconut Products. And we know for a fact that workers engaged in the maintenance department have been engaged and utilized to try to bring the machinery back to operational standards. And that we thought was in fact a good thing, since the Prime Minister did indicate that he would like to see operations recommencing around December of this year. Now that is very possible if all the machineries can be brought back to operational standards.
Augustus is hopeful the majority of those employees will be rehired.
Now, once this is realized, then the question of the engagement of the other workers will take place, and we will now start to see a reduction in the incidence of unemployment created by the closure of that operation at DCP. The role of the union would be, as have been in the past, to ensure that we negotiate terms and conditions for those workers. But I think that we could only do that when the operation is in fact in full stream and that we know what the numbers are.
When employment levels are in full swing, Augustus hopes he can have a discussion with management.
We haven't had any face-to-face, eyeball-to-eyeball with management. It is hopeful from our perspective that the new employer, recognizing that we were the accredited bargaining agent, would be prepared to deal and treat with us in that light.
Colgate-Palmolive, manufacturer of soaps, detergents and dental hygiene products, announced in November 2015 the closure of the DCP plant, making 94 employees redundant. 70 students are receiving scholarships under an arrangement between the Melissa Skerritt Foundation and the Montreal Management Consultants. Hundreds of packages are being distributed to students this week. It's the 4th year of the Adopt a Child Back to School program.
15 pupils for preschool level. We also have 15 students for primary, 15 students for high school level, 15 students for college level.
Montreal Management Consultants has also increased the number of students to benefit from the school feeding program.
The past 3 years saw this program extend scholarships and vital school supplies to over 1,000 students from the preschool, primary school, secondary school, and at the college level. I have also visited the homes of many of you here today. During these times, I observed that some of you kept your children home due to your inability to provide them with breakfast or a snack. And this to me was unacceptable. It had to be addressed. It was at this point that I came up with the idea of providing a child with a snack. And I have to be thankful to my dear friends of Montreal Management Consultants, the benefactor to the school feeding program, for embracing my vision and coming on board with no hesitation.
Speaking on the program's impact, one parent said the Melissa Skerritt Foundation is helping take the financial burden off of parents by providing school supplies to students and allowing for more time for actual parenting.
I am a single mother who was one of the first recipients of a scholarship for my son during his tenure at preschool. Words will not explain how this scholarship helped ease the financial pressure of school and allow me to place most of my focus on becoming a better mother. For the past 3 years, he has also been a recipient of the Back to School supplies, which is also donated by your foundation. Thank you, Mrs. Melissa Skerritt. Thank you, Melissa Skerritt's Foundation. I will work hard to make sure that you feel that you have made a wise decision in having selected me as one of your recipients and also Roseau Central's children. Again, thank you for your generosity.
Under a pilot school feeding program launched in 2016 at St. Martin's School and Roseau Primary, over 100 students have received a daily healthy snack at recess time. As a result, there's been a marked increase in attendance. Based on that, the number of students benefiting from this program will be increased this year. You are watching Channel 5 News. Coming up, the National Security Minister on government's commitment to providing post-Irma relief to affected countries. Thank you for staying with us. While the very real effects of climate change continue to be manifested in the country and around the region, government has continued to be flexible in its Housing Revolution program to adapt to the effects of climate change or the climate change phenomenon. Housing manager with the Housing Division, Hilarion Jewell, says government's overall housing revolution plan has been modified to adjust to the impact of climate change on the country's topography.
We're now realizing and understanding that Erica has given us some serious signals. And so we're looking at lands that are, one, a bit away from water courses, a bit away from cliffs, hillsides, where landslides could happen, and to construct concentrated housing units in those areas in order to mitigate loss of life, loss of property in the event, that some storm or something comes up. And so we're looking at apartment units.
Jewell says apartment blocks is the way to go in terms of maximizing available land, which is ideal for constructing residential units.
The housing revolution, as well as a normal improvement or increase in the housing stock of the island, is being considered by way of apartments. Consideration is also given to the construction of apartments in Georgetown, Glanvilla, as well as Cotton Hill, over by Purple Turtle, Portsmouth area. So it's a lot of work going on in the Ministry of Housing, a lot of planning, putting together, and once the funds are available, we'll see construction happening, and the housing stock will be improved, and those affected by Storm Erica and other storms, their lives will be changed.
And speaking of funding,
the country's Build Back Better campaign started following the passage of Tropical Storm Erica in August 2015, which rendered the communities of Petite-Savanne and Dubique uninhabitable. Since the storm, the Dubique residents have been relocated to Centre in Grand Bay, while construction is ongoing in Bellevue-Chopin for the community of Petite-Savanne. In other news, Minister for National Security Reuben Blackmore says government remains focused in providing relief assistance to Caribbean countries affected by the Category 5 Hurricane Irma. Government has already provided over $2 million in financial support to countries including Cuba, Anguilla, and the British Virgin Islands and Antigua and Barbuda. Mr. Blackmore told a press briefing on Wednesday the first shipment of relief supplies include 3 containers of food and water, and it is expected to arrive on the island of St. Martin by Thursday morning. The government is working out the logistics to send bulk water.
So 3 of those containers will go to St. Martin. We have 2 containers of water for St. Martin and 1 mixed container with water and dry goods. And then 1 container is going to Anguilla, a mixed container. During the course of today and Friday, we will be shipping a container of water and dry goods to Totola.
Blackmore said Dominicans wishing to send supplies to Hurricane Irma victims on affected countries will have that opportunity next week.
I want to give the public the assurance because we know that you have a number of persons with loved ones, family members in St. Martin, Totola, and Anguilla, and there's a tremendous Dominican population on both sides of St. Martin. But for persons who want to send dry goods, etc., to those countries. Next week we'll be facilitating those persons who want to send supplies to their family and friends in St. Martin, Anguilla, Totola.
Disaster management consultant Cecil Shillingford said Dexia's Pack House, located next to the Aid Bank in Goodwill, is the reception point for packages. He said following the collection of packages next week, they will then be shipped to affected countries. Shillingford also noted a bank account to receive financial contributions from the public. They have opened that account. The number is 615-000-493. Blackmore noted government was providing assistance to Hurricane Irma affected countries following a significant outpouring of support to Dominica following the passage of Tropical Storm Erica in 2015. Additionally, 15 Commonwealth of Dominica police officers have left the island to assist with maintaining security on Barbuda as part of a regional security system contingent. That's news. Next up, your sports highlights with Kenny Williams.
We begin with football because Promex Harlem United will be looking to knock off their competition on their road to the championship title, while other teams will be looking to move up the point standing in Week 4 of the 2017 Floor Premier League on the weekend. Harlem has had a spotless campaign so far, winning all 3 matches played.
5 matches are scheduled as we enter Week 4 of the DFA Flow Premier League. On Friday, defending champion Central Cooperative Credit Union Dubla Football Club and Petro Caribe Point Michel will be looking to bounce back from defeat in their last encounters when they battle each other at the Dubla playing field from 6 p.m. On Saturday, Promex Harlem United goes in search of a 4th straight win when they take on Buffet State Football Club at 3 p.m. at the Geneva grounds, while at the Dubla playing field, Middleham United will be beaming with confidence after a big win last weekend as they come up against the winless Wacky Rollers from 4 p.m. And on Sunday, Sajiko Southeast, with 1 win and 2 draws under their belt, will clash with newly promoted Belfast Estate Limited Mao Soka Strikers at 3 p.m. at the Geneva grounds, while at the Benjamin Park from 4 p.m., Northern Concrete and Steel Bombers will be looking to maintain their 2nd place status when they take on Kelver Daru Exodus Football Club, who has lost all 3 matches played to date.
Sports continues with this item where Secretary General of the Dominica Amateur Basketball Association, Martin Dyer, recently resigned from his post on the executive. Dyer migrated to England last month and was one of the members on the executive who assisted with refereeing and scoring where necessary in a sport that's dependent on voluntary service. Marpin Sports spoke to President of the DABA, Jerry Williams, for comment on Dyer's resignation. However, he declined, saying he will give feedback on the subject after the executive meets to discuss the way forward later this month. Dyer had served on the DABA since February of 2014 and during that time served as a table official and Secretary General. Moving on to cricket, while some might deem rain a good thing, West Indies may not have thought so when their only one-day international against Ireland was abandoned because of rain. The Windies needed a series win against Ireland to help improve their chances at automatic qualification for the ICC World Cup. This would have been Ireland's first fixture against a test-playing nation since acquiring test status. That's the end of the summer season for them, with their next scheduled game against Scotland in the Intercontinental Cup at the end of November. However, the Windies will be looking for favourable conditions when they take on England in a T20 at Chesterley Street this Saturday. Their tour of England goes until 29th September. Meantime, T20 hard hitter Christopher Gale, or as he is commonly known, Chris Gale, has recently hinted at an interest to make a return to Test cricket. The Windies' decline as a test force has slowly been established over the years, with their most recent performance being a 2-1 series defeat against England. Gale's last test appearance was against Bangladesh in 2014, where he contributed 64 in the first innings and 9 not out in the second to help West Indies win by a whopping 10 wickets. Gale says he will give it his best shot.
Even if it's a farewell test match, as I mentioned in previous interviews, even if I can't manage it, so be it, but I'm still looking forward to play, a test match. I just don't want to walk away from just like announce a retirement, just like that, from test cricket. We have an understanding, and I think I really actually deserve that, based on, what I've actually done over the last couple of years. As long as the body allows me, I will play.
Gale's next assignment is against England in an only T20 on Saturday. Gale's last T20 for West Indies was against India in July, where he contributed 18 to help West Indies win by 9 wickets. Back with more football, we can tell you that the action intensifies this week in the Veterans Crew 40 and Over Masters League, when a number of teams will be hoping to move closer to snatching the championship title.
3 teams are vying for title, while 1 team will be looking to upset and send 1 person home without a championship. In the first game on Thursday evening from 7 o'clock, Harlem Veterans will be trying to dash the hopes of Saturday ballers of winning the championship, of vying for championship. And on Friday from 7 o'clock, the clash will be between West Coast Vets and Jade Veterans, where winner takes all in the championship game.
The games are carded for the Newtown playing field. Finally, in sports, Ghetto Youths defeated Cherry Ballers 1-0 in the first game of the quarterfinals of the 2017 Tarish Pit Small Goal League. Pato Abraham was the lone goal scorer in the game. That's all the sporting highlights for now. I am Kenny Williams. Join us next time.
And it's time now for your weather update.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to tonight's weather broadcast. I will be your presenter for this evening, Farah Rock. Well, Hurricane Jose is really hanging in there. There it is, just north of the islands. Presently poses no direct threat to Dominica or any landmass for the matter. No watches or warnings have been issued. As a matter of fact, it is expected to weaken to a tropical storm. We see this other area of convection here, and that is associated with the intertropical convergence zone. Partly cloudy skies prevail across the Kingfield station today with mainly high-level cirriform clouds across the sky. And just one brief shower was recorded at the Kingfield station this afternoon, and some brief showers recorded at the Douglas Charles station. Earlier radar imagery indicates scattered showers across Dominica, Guadeloupe, the Leeward Islands, as well as over in the Atlantic Ocean. The weather tonight is expected to be partly cloudy to cloudy with a few scattered showers, and tomorrow it will be cloudy at first with some showers, but it'll become partly cloudy with a few brief showers. Well, small craft operators and seabathers, particularly on the East Coast, you should exercise caution. The waves are expected tomorrow to peak up to 7 feet. Let's take a look now at the weather for the next 3 days. Tomorrow, Thursday, as I said, it will be cloudy at first with some showers, and then it'll become partly cloudy with a few brief showers, and these conditions will persist into the earlier part of Friday. However, tropical wave will begin to affect us later on Friday. The weather will become increasingly cloudy with some showers and a chance of isolated thunderstorms, and these conditions will persist into Saturday. Well, it is forecasted to be mostly cloudy with some showers and isolated thunderstorms. Let's take a look now at the weather for the rest of the Caribbean tomorrow. Well, the Leeward Islands and the northern windwards can expect partly cloudy skies with some showers. The windwards, cloudy skies with some showers, and the extreme southern part of the Lesser Antilles can anticipate some thunderstorm activity tomorrow. On the international scene, both the cities of Miami and Caracas can expect some thunderstorm activity. Overcast skies expected across New York. Cloudy skies for the city of Beijing, and the city of London can enjoy some partly cloudy skies tomorrow. A sunrise at 5:54 a.m. and set at 6:08 p.m. tomorrow. Of course, we are still in hurricane season. Please keep abreast with your weather information. You could always visit our website at weather.gov.dm or call the weather hotline at 447-5555. Join us tomorrow evening for your next weather broadcast. Thank you for viewing.
To end the news, the headlines again. The Cuban embassy says Dominican students studying there are safe. Creole Festival organizers reassess their marketing strategy in light of the impact of Irma on neighboring islands. And government modifies its housing revolution to make provision for the impact of climate change. Feel free to contact us at news@MarpinNews13thSept2k17. You can access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the production team, I am Julian Morris. To our viewers around the world, thank you for watching.